Right, hello. We're going live here on YouTube and Facebook. Just trying to set up live on Instagram as well. Phone doesn't like it for some reason. Doesn't allow me to go live. What is going on? This is not what I want to do. So bear with me. Live. Okay. Looks like it's going to happen now. All right, here we go. So now we're live all of our channels. So hello everyone. Welcome back to another event here live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. For those of you who have been watching the past videos, just want to mention that you can make comments, you can ask questions, also asking questions, give me something to talk about the next live events. And so here we are. Tonight, we're going to talk about, so the question I put on most of the channels is, do you think physical disability can negate a child to learn to swim? And we're going to talk about this on this live event. Is it something like, when we talk physical disability, it can be really like a broad range of options. But is it something that deny a child to learn a skill like swimming? And I'm going to respond this, and I'm going to show you some examples, always based on my own experience as a swimming instructor. So for those of you who don't know me or watching this video for the first time, I'm a swimming instructor, and I've been teaching swimming for children for over 15 years. London, US, Brazil, many small events around the world. So based on my experience, I'm going to show you that, yes, a child with a physical disability, doesn't matter which disability, will be able to learn to swim. And I would like to start by defining what is it that we call a physical disability. And that's a good point today. As I'm always facing this way here, that way, the camera on the laptop for YouTube and Facebook. And sometimes here on Instagram, you can't see what I'm seeing on the laptop screen. So today I'm going to try something different. When I'm sharing something on the screen, I'm going to switch this camera facing to the laptop, so we'll be able to at least grasp some of the visuals that I'm sharing. So I'm going to start by defining what is it that we call a physical disability. So a physical disability is a limitation a person has, so a limitation on a person's physical functioning, immobility or dexterity or stamina. So anything that limits this person on a mobility, on a movement, how to function as we call the proper or normal way. So that's considered a physical disability. So it really doesn't narrow down. It really opens up for many different ways of showing a physical disability. And some of them, the most common, are this: so cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, epilepsy, carpal tunnel syndrome, amputations, and spinal cord injuries. So those are some of the examples that can be labeled as physical disability. Right. Can a child or an adult, can someone learn even though that child or person has one of these physical disabilities? Based on my own experience, yes, and for sure. I used to say that every child learning in a different way. I'm talking here about learning to swim. So especially when I'm teaching private lessons, I can really focus on that individual need. And sometimes a child is scared about just about the water in general. So that child will learn differently from a child who has no fear at all. It's one of we all have seen like those very young ones. They face situations where the parents or someone would say like, "Oh, this is dangerous." They have no sense of fear at all. And on the other end of the scale, we have children who really shows since young ages a sense of fear, well defined. So those, we're not talking about physical disabilities, those will learn in a different way. So the lesson has to be adapted. And that's what I do. I adapt my lessons so those children can learn on the way is most pleasant and comfortable to them. So now going to the next scale, when I face a lesson with a child that has some, let's say, physical disability or has some, it's an autist or has autism, some scale, or Down syndrome. So I had the opportunity, an amazing opportunity to work with all these examples I just gave you. And they all going to learn in a different way. Of course, some will take longer. Some will learn as fast as any other we call normal or no disability, doesn't show any disability. But all can learn. Everyone can learn. Every child can learn. Especially as a child, I would say it's easier to teach a child, young children like 2, 3, 4 years old, to swim, even though they show some sign of disability, than an adult, let's say 40 years old plus, that has no disability, but has like a long baggage of fear or bad habits. Yeah, I'll point that out. So I would say it's easier the other way, because they might show some disability, they might show some barriers to learn, but they're not aware of that. Sometimes they're not aware of that. They don't see themselves as inferior or has less ability than others. So they just want to do it. They just want to learn, and they face whatever they face. They face whatever they face with what they have, and that's beautiful to see. And I'm honored, and I'm grateful for having the opportunity to have worked with so many different, so many different spectrum of abilities of children and etc. So what I'm going to show you here is a video of one of my late lessons, like I think when I was teaching this girl that I will call Abby. So that's not her real name, but I'll call her Abby. I think she was, when I started teaching her, she was about 2 years old. The parents came to me, the mother came to me, introduced her as she has a cerebral palsy, just the inferior members. So from the waist down, she had a very difficult to walk, to move, step forward. The legs, feet would not be straight, so always pointing inwards. Yeah, so the parents had to face like a lot of physiotherapy, daily exercise with her to minimize the impact of that small disability. And swimming was one of the things the doctors recommended for her to maximize her coordination with the inferior members. And at the beginning, we never know like what to expect. And I'll normally ask the parents like, what do you expect for the lessons? What do you want to achieve? So I'm not pushing in one way when the parents want something different. And also to know what we're looking at. What's the main goal here? And especially in cases like this, most of the time they want the child to have a great time. They want them to be thinking about having fun, not like it's an exercise for you to overcome your situation. And let's say if the end result also has, she learns how to be safe in the water, that's a plus. But the main goal is having fun, do some exercise for her legs to help her with her situation, and have an activity that just takes her out of the all these physiotherapy sessions and etc. And that's how excuse me, that's how we started. What I'm going to show you here is of course not the first few lessons, but let's say after 8 or 9 months of lessons. We used to do, I think, twice a week at that time. No, it was twice a week, actually, twice a week, half an hour. And of course, as a child who has never been in water, we always had to start from creating a space for her to be comfortable in the water environment before we do any movements and exercise for her legs and inferior members. So we start with breath control, learning how to go under the water, how to hold the breath, and she was always like someone really up to it. She was always very brave from the beginning. And she got to a point where she managed to go under the water, always holding my hands under the water, breathing out, and we used to go together, so looking at each other. That was like best time of her life. And then we went to flotation, so learn how to float front and back. You're going to see some of these exercises we used to do. And for my surprise, she was moving fast. She was improving really fast. And then propulsion, so kicking. And right now, when we got to the point where I was teaching her propulsion, like how to move from point A to point B, normally we use legs as the main propeller. We can use hands to help out, but we always try to induce the child to use the legs, because legs, longer members, stronger muscles, as a stronger propeller. But for her, it was a lot easier to use her arms, a lot easier. She didn't have much control of her legs at that time, although we always working on the legs as a way to help her with coordination, being a child with cerebral palsy. And but we use the arms as the main propeller. And you're going to be able to see that she got to a point where arms were helping it a lot, like 70% of the movement were coming from the arms, hands and arms. But the legs were start to help as well. And then we started to see, and her mother gave me their feedback, we started to see great improvements in her movements outside the pool as well, from the exercises we were doing in the water. Not only the exercise in the water, but she had like physiotherapists and stuff, but the swimming was helping a lot. And And she got to a point where she was completely independent in the water. So she became a swimmer. She can swim. At the age of 3, she became a swimmer. So here I'm going to share. Let me just change the Instagram so you're going to be able to see what I'm sharing. Let me see. I've never tried this before, so bear with me if I'm doing anything wrong. Oh, here we go. Look at that. This is the first video. Let me add here. So this is Abby. Here we're doing exercise for her legs. Again, I'm just pause here for a second. So this time she was able to go on the water. She was not afraid when sitting on this noodle to go with her face close to the water. It might be a bit dark here on Instagram, but at least you have some sense of what I'm talking about. So she was not afraid of getting her face close to the water because she knew how to deal with that when and if she went under the water. So here she was working a lot on her legs to make her move. She had to concentrate on her legs because the hands were holding onto the noodle. So let me just play a little bit more. So they're under the water. It's very dark here. Sorry, guys.
What are we getting from Tesco?
Yeah, she had like very good skills. She quite like very good skills on balance on the noodle. It was very good exercise for her, considering she had cerebral palsy in the inferior members. So
yeah, very cheesy.
Yeah, this is not like the first day doing this kind of exercise. It just give you a sense. She was very very coordinated with the arms, very active. That helped her a lot. That you can see some of the movements in the legs, and just go back a little bit. Not very coordinated yet, but they were helping, pushing, like jumping. And the hands there all the time, just helping her to move forward, turning around.
What you forgot? They're closing soon. We need to get back close.
Yeah.
They close. Tesco, what you have for us?
So one of the things we always start, especially for her, that was like changing moments in her swimming, swimming career, was the use of goggles when they can see clearly what's under the water. And then never, ever she came to the lesson without goggles, because that's like something she's always looking forward to. And here, you see, the legs were not helping when the arms were not there to help. She would like kind of sink a bit. Let's see, here we have some. Yeah, that's a good thing. Sometimes she had to put the face in the water just to grab, not to have a bit more flotation position. What's going on here? Temperature. Legal. It's too hot. The phone is too hot. Just lost. I can't believe it. I just lost everything on Instagram because phone says it's too hot. Can't believe it. Wow. It is what it is. So let's carry on here. So let's show you another video. So here's Abby. She's going to practice a flotation with gliding, and you'll be able to see the legs movement to kick. So that's when we start to concentrate on propulsion from the legs. She had, since the beginning, like very good arms movement to help her to move. But here, what I ask her is like, keep your hands together, just use your legs to move from here to there. And then she gets to the other side.
Okay, ready.
And then now I'm gonna check under the water. So again, the aim was keep your hands together. Oh, Thiago, it's too hard for me. I need to use my hands. Need to use my hands. Now, come on, put your hands together. Put your hands together. Look down, put your hands together. So you're going to float. And because of her disability, yeah, the cerebral palsy she has, the legs not being able to coordinate and move like other members of her body, she had difficulty. But that was we were insisting onto that. She got to a point where she could do what I was asking her to do with the help of the arms. But then we want to, okay, let's move. Let's see how far we can go here. So you got to a very good skill that you can propel your body from one place to another using your hands. But let's see if you can do that with your legs as well. You know, like we don't stop at the limitation just because, you know, it looks like you won't be able to. And then you can see here, I'm going to show you again. She was very good at the legs moving at that point. She's about 3 years, maybe 3.5 there at that moment.
Ready, steady, look to the bottom of the pool. Go and
gliding head down, really streamlined body.
look to the bottom.
You can see the legs like feet are pointing inwards.
I can't hear any bubbles. Did you blow bubbles?
She had difficulty to control, to keep the legs long, to move them in coordinated movements because of her disability. And she knew she could rely on the arms to help her come up to breathe whenever necessary. There you go. From that, you can see like she became a very good swimmer. And I'm going to show you like a compilation of good moments of Abby swimming. So here it is. It's waving under the water, having a good time. Floating. She's very good at floating. Here by herself, all the way by herself. And slowly coming up. She had a hard time bringing her legs up because she was able to, like going all the way to the bottom with a little help. Spinning around, full body control under the water. Pushing out from the wall, difficult for her, because we also insisted on to then gliding on her back. And then here just kicking, stop to breathe. That was it. So here's my proof that even a child with cerebral palsy, with a disability, a physical disability, can learn how to swim, and it's totally possible. It's just a matter of how to approach there, what skills you want to master first, which sequence. If let's say if the cerebral palsy was something that would let's say stop her from having a well-coordinated movement with the arms, but the legs were fine, we would completely change the approach, right? How would she be able to come up to breathe? Probably would have to do something like swimming on your front, and when it's time to breathe, you're going to use your legs to rotate your body. And then breathe looking up like that. So it's just a matter of taking a different approach. And yeah, that's it. I hope you liked this session, and I'll see you on the next live. Thank you.